All Hit Radio.
Welcome to the X Zone, a place where fact is fiction and fiction is reality. Now, here's your host, Rob McConnell.
And good evening, one and all, and welcome back to the X Zone. I am Rob McConnell, and for the next 2 hours, I'm your host and your guide as together we will cross the time-space continuum to this place that I lovingly call the X Zone. It's a place where people dare to believe and dare to be heard. It's a place where fact is fiction and fiction is reality. And the X Zone comes to you from our broadcast center of the X Zone Broadcast Network in St. Catharines, Ontario, Canada, at www.xzbn.net and on the Talkstar Radio Network, as well as, are you ready for this one? The Mutual Broadcast Network. And in northern New York, Pennsylvania, there's one more state in there, I forget which one it is, we're heard live on AM 1220 CFAJ here in St. Catharines, which also covers the entire province of Ontario. If you'd like to give me an email, it's xzone at xzoneradiotv.com, and all social media sites, Xzone Radio TV. Many people have asked me about paranormal music that we use here in the X Zone, musicians that we've had here on the X Zone. If we could do interviews with them and find out what brought them to writing songs about the paranormal, about Indigenous people, about all the things that we talk about here in the X Zone. So I thought that was a great idea. And a good friend of mine, Gwilda Wiyaka, is, as you well know, she is a TV radio creator, producer, host, journalist, award-winning author, and singer-songwriter. She is also a shamanic practitioner, instructor, and the founder of Path Home Shamanic Arts School, which was formerly a Colorado State Certified Occupational School of the Shamanic Arts, for which she authored all the curriculum. She recorded a CD as well as wrote the songs with a friend of hers, Cody Wiggle, and we're going to talk to Gwilda about her songs. We're going to play bits of her songs. So joining me now from Colorado is Gwilda Wiyaka. Hey, Gwil, welcome back.
Hey, thank you so much for having me. It's always a pleasure, Rob.
All righty. How did you and Cody get together and decide to co-create your CD, Winds of Time?
Well, it's a long story, actually, but I'll shorten it up. Years and years ago, Blue Thunder, Native American, was having a, let me see, the park was messing up, Yellowstone Park. It was acting like it was going to erupt. And,
right.
And he did these ceremonies throughout the country, different places. He painted a medicine wheel on the country, basically. And he would contact people that were in the field from each area to bring their people in to do the ceremony with him at different times until he got the whole thing done. Well, anyway, I was on his list. I was one of them. And when we were doing the ceremony by the river, as we decided to do, unbeknownst to me and unbeknownst to Cody, we were at the same place at the same time. And I was running a drumming circle with my school. And with that, I was singing. And she heard me from clear across the river and followed my voice to me. And after that, she became a student. Then she became a colleague and a practitioner. And meanwhile, I'm still dealing with music and this and that. And she's a piano tuner, excellent pianist. And so we got our heads together, and I 3:33, I'd wake up in the morning with a song going through my head. I'd jot it down and croak it into a tape player. And I'm unencumbered by any knowledge of music, so she'd write it down. But anyway, that's how it all got started.
It sounds like this was destiny.
It felt like it, yes.
Yeah. Now, the first track on your CD, Winds of Time, is the song Winds of Time. Can you tell us a little bit about it before we actually play a part?
You bet. Winds of Time is for these times, and it's two very separate parts. I sing one part, Cody sings the other part, and then we put it together as a counter melody, and that's to represent what's going on right now. So, like, say for instance, my part starts out with "The end has come, the night has fallen. I've reached the end of days." So that's kind of what we're looking at. Everything's falling apart, but then hers comes in with "Come to me, I stand here calling." We're the same, the old and new. I'm you, one step beyond now. Leap through the veil into my arms. So it's coexisting with these two very diametrically opposed viewpoints. One of this is the end, okay,
right,
and the other of this is a huge transition and a time for rejoicing.
Well, let's play a little bit of it right now, Gwilda.
Sure.
Has come, the night has fallen. I have reached the end of days. What's real is not, reason fails me. I've gone beyond all known pathways. This is the end of reason. This is the end of time. I am alone and broken. I am apart from what was mine. I stand now at the edge of the abyss, nowhere to go. The time has come. I must choose to take the leap or be laid low. This is the end of reason. This is the end of time. I travel on, it is my season to travel on the winds of time. Come to me, I stand here calling. We are the same, the old and new. I am you, one step.
The name of that song, Exo Nation, is Winds of Time. It's from the Winds of Time CD, and Gwilda Wiyaka is our guest here, and you and Cody sound exactly the same.
Well, I'm the one with the lower alto and the dusty voice, and she's the soprano.
No, but I was listening, and when it went from your verse where it says this is the end of the season of reason, and then it goes to, and then you've got here in brackets Cody, and it went to Cody when she started saying "Come to me," and I couldn't tell the difference in your voices.
we align pretty well, and our harmonies work real well because of that. Yes.
Okay, the next one on your list is "Cast to the Wind." What is that song about?
That's really a fun song. It's a little more indigenous tone to it, and it speaks about these times when everything that we think is solid is
Right.
not. And it starts out with, I'm broken, I'm shattered, I'm cast to the wind. This one, interestingly enough, though, in the chorus, it says, Maka'ina, Maka'ina, carry me home. And Maka'ina is Lakota for Mother Earth. So it's other words, it's a call to come back to Earth, to come back to life, to be remembered when you're being dismembered in this fall apart time.
All right, let's. Now, how does Maka'ina? That is what again?
Maka'ina is Lakota Sioux for Mother Earth.
How many different First Nations dialects are there?
Oh, more than you can shake a stick at.
Really,
And originally, none of them were written. I think the Cherokee finally started a
All
written
right, stand
language
by.
after the Native
Here's that song.
Americans. But
I've been broken, shattered, cast to the wind. I am scattered upon the wind. I've been broken, shattered, cast to the wind. I am scattered upon the wind. I've been broken, shattered, cast to the wind. I am scattered upon the wind. Makaina, 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 Maka, carry me home, Makaina.
And that is called Cast to the Wind. Once again, it's from the CD Winds of Time. Now, I heard some different instrumentation in here. You had some, I guess they're called chimes. You also had the drumming was totally different. And all you need to make that a great jazz song is throw in a saxophone.
yeah, all we need is a sax.
Yeah.
Yeah, the drum is an actual powwow drum, big powwow drum, and it was recorded. And then there's rattles in there that are handmade rattles, and then of course the wind chimes.
How long did it take you to record that one song?
Well, it was really a composite, and it was interesting how quickly they'd come together. I'd go in and with Cody into the studio, and interestingly enough, her brother, Bill Cody, was the one that was the recording studio at the time, also quite a musician. And so we'd get together, and heck, in an afternoon we'd have an entire cut done.
Wow. And now, how many CDs have you and Cody done together?
This is the only one she and I have done together. We each have one individually as well, and then I have 2 other drumming CDs for the Shamanic Journey that I have out there.
Now, I must tell you, my favorite song on the entire CD, and I've listened to them all, and I like them, but my favorite song is One People, One Nation. Tell us about that.
It's kind of a complex song, and it came through again in the middle of the night for me, and it speaks of the time that we're in right now where we need to merge and honor everybody, okay? And it speaks of all the religions, how there is a place where they can all come together. And so it's really a beautiful song. I had King Pfeiffer on the bagpipes, and Bill Cody was doing a lot of the background. Cody and I did the singing. So it was pretty interesting song.
When we come back from this short break, we're going to play One People, One Nation for the members of the Exo Nation who are listening tonight on the Talkstar Radio Network, Mutual Broadcast Network, Exo Broadcast Network, and throughout Ontario and the northern states of the great United States of America, here along our shores of Lake Ontario and Lake Erie. And of course on AM 1220, CFAJ, who, put us around the world on their streaming service. My guest this hour, Gwilda Wiyaka. And you can listen to Gwilda's radio show, Mission Evolution, at www.missionevolution.org. We'll be back on the other side of the short break, so whatever you do, don't go away.
One
Gwilda Wiyaka is my guest this hour, Exonation. You can visit her website, findyourpathhome.com, right? Findyourpathhome.com?
Yes, that's right.
Okay, and then, of course, your radio and TV show at missionevolution.org. I love this song. It's vibrant. It just, you just get into it, and the bagpipes, that was a stroke of genius.
Well, I happen to have a friend that played pipes, and I heard them one evening. He used to play for weddings and stuff. He's really good. His name's Ken Pfeiffer, and that was the inspiration to having the bagpipes in there. I know who can do this. Mm-hmm. Yeah, it was great.
Now, let me see. One of the verses here is one people, one nation, coming from the stars.
Yes, that's very interesting because most of the Native American tribes believe that they originated in the stars. And interestingly enough, if you go back far enough in Irish and Celtic history, there's that belief as well. And so that's part of what it's about, is like, we're coming from the stars, I think, energetically. Yeah. And I think now as we're moving into a higher frequency time, that we actually have more access to wider bandwidths of light and knowledge and awareness.
But is it also possible that they looked at the stars as their place of origin because they had no knowledge of what we know today? And if they had the knowledge of today, would their origins be totally different?
I'm not sure what you're asking me there. I think what you're saying is that the science of today, if they had access to that information, they might not have said that they came from the stars?
Yes. I was trying to be very diplomatic.
Sorry, you're so diplomatic it went over my poor old head. I really don't know. I really don't know because, if we study astrology and astronomy, the astrology portion speaks of the energy influence from the stars based on where we are in the galaxy in relationship to them. And that's proven out in a lot of different ways. They were a good divination tool, and we all know, you get your chart done, and it can be pretty darn accurate if you get somebody who's good at it. So I think that it's the frequencies and the knowledge that comes from those frequencies that they refer to more so than the little green men coming down in a spaceship.
And yet, when you look at other parts of the world, for example, the Middle East, they don't think that we were from the stars. They think that God created us and that we're creatures of God, not from the stars. It's amazing to look at the world and how different people believe the beginnings were different.
It is, isn't it? And, there's this thing called comparative mythology. And if the theme is, if you bring together all the myths and only keep what they have in common, you probably come closer to the truth of history. And I think the same thing can be done with religion. A lot of people are digging deeper into it and finding they aren't that dissimilar, really. It's just the interpretation that's been put on them in the modern times.
We can only hope. There was something else here that I want to ask you about. Our gracious Mother Earth, our Father in the sky, have joined again in love to reveal the lie. What is the lie?
The lie is the age of polarization when, we were looking for enemies, man versus woman, everything was segregated. And that was the lie as in out of balance, not unified, not homogenous, if you will. And that's so that when the masculine and the feminine come back together, okay, then that we have a more of a binocular view because we can see through both viewpoints and become more harmonious.
One nation, one people, one nation. Time to make a stand. One people, one nation from many lands. Now, are you talking about in the past or are you talking now?
Both, really both. There's a lot of different prophecies in the Native American and I believe in the original Canadian traditions that said basically, it's horribly paraphrased here, but that at one point the Creator separated us and cast us to the four corners of the earth. And we learn different languages in different ways, etc. But the truth will not be known, or the evolution will not happen until we bring all four corners back together in the center. And that's what that's about.
You've got another verse here that says, white buffalo, calf woman, Mohammed, Gandhi, Buddha, Jesus Christ came to set us free. So you're kind of tying in all the religious philosophers in one here.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
So nobody is better than the other?
No, not in my viewpoint. I mean, it depends on what you align with better, because ultimately the religion or the faith has to do with how you relate to it, how it helps you connect with all that is. But ultimately, if you go down to the basics of any of those practices, the teacher himself spoke of love.
I personally believe that one's religious philosophies should be celebrated in the home. Because if it's celebrated too much in different areas, we have what we have today. For example, we have the events of 9/11 that pointed the finger to Islam. We've got things going on right now in the Middle East because people do not agree with everyone else. And I think religion has at times separated us instead of bringing us together.
I agree, Rob, and I believe it's not because of the original teachings, but rather the dogma that's been slathered over the top of them over the years, and now they're used to control, and it's a big control battle going on out there.
Whoever has the most followers has the most money.
Exactly.
All right, let me see. Let me see here. There is. I don't know how to say this. Number 7, Pila Mayelo.
Pila Mayale. Now I can't see it. Pila Limo. I can't see it. Look what you did to me, Robert.
Pretty bad when an author can't read her own title.
Well, it's Lakota. In my defense, it's Lakota. It's hard for me to wrap my mouth around it, but it means I am saying thank you.
Woman who born redhead wannabe Lakota have trouble speaking word.
Absolutely, I do.
Okay, so we've got Tears of the Phoenix. We have Dance of the Sita.
She, yeah, it's a Celtic word. Ergo, it's not spelled like it sounds, but it's the dance of the she, and they're.
Now hold on here, and then you have the Walk in Beauty. Which is your favorite song?
Oh, I'm kind of with you. One People, One Nation.
How come you didn't put that as the first track?
Well, it is the first track. I did it by myself in another CD that I've done, and that's the title of that CD. So I didn't want to do it twice.
Okie dokie. Any more music coming up in your career? One of your many careers, I might add.
My many careers. I don't know. Lately I have been waking up with music going through my head. I just have to take the time to write it down and then go beat on Cody's door and say, would you write this out for me? But yeah, music is always part of me, part of my life, part of my expression. So you never know what will come up with.
It's funny. I wake up every morning around 5 o'clock with music going through my head.
See, write it down.
No, it's the alarm clock.
Oh.
Sorry, had to do that to you.
Oh, you just had to, didn't you? Yeah.
Why did you choose to align yourself with Lakotas?
Well, actually, my first teacher was a Lakota, but if you, truth be told, the style that I use in shamanism, I'm a shamanic practitioner, not a shaman, but in shamanism, the style I use is more Celtic because although I have all the above in me, I'm a lot more Celtic, and I align better with the Celtic traditions. But there's shamanism at the base of every culture. It's not just Native American, and actually, the word shaman came from Siberia. It didn't come from here.
Huh. There you go. Something else I learned today. Okay, so let's see. You've got 8 tracks on that CD. Is it fair to say that 7 tracks are First Nations and 1 track is Celtic?
Let's see. The Dance of the She is Celtic. Siren's Song is more Celtic. Tears of the Phoenix is more Celtic. Walk in Beauty, Piliamo, and One People, One Nation. Well, One People, One Nation is eclectic.
Yeah.
Piliamo, Walk in Beauty, Cast to the Wind are all Native American, leaning towards Native American.
So it's about 50-50.
Yeah, it really is. Mm-hmm.
How long did it take you to do the entire CD?
Well, now that took a while because we had to do a lot of engineering. I know Bill, the drums, those lovely drums, and One People, One Nation, that's all electronic. Mm-hmm. So he created those. So I would say it was probably a 4-month process from when we contracted him till we were done.
4 months. And how did you feel when you heard the final cuts of each track?
That just about brought me to tears because it was like hearing a dream come true, if you will.
What did Cody say?
She was delighted. Yes, she was absolutely delighted.
And I'm sure the engineer Bill was as well.
Yes, he was. He was. Yeah, he was real proud of it. Yeah.
Have you had any AM/FM airplay on it?
I'm not. I think it plays on Spotify occasionally. I don't know where all it plays, but it is out there because it was going through CD Baby and they put it out there on different stations.
Interesting. You and I have to take a break in a couple of seconds, but before we do, I'm looking at all these songs, and if you could give me one little phrase that would cover the entire mission behind the CD, what is it?
During these times of intense shifts and deep transformation, these songs are built to support that, to support people as they move through their process.
Exonation Gwilda Wiyaka is our special guest. When we come back, we're going to be talking to Gwilda about what is New Age and why are we seeing it now. This is the X-Zone. I am Rob McConnell, and we'll be back on the other side of this very short break. Don't go away. Welcome back, everyone. This is the X-Zone. I am Rob McConnell. We're coming to you from our broadcast center and studios in St. Catharines, Ontario, Canada, on the X-Zone Broadcast Network, Talkstar Radio Network, Mutual Broadcast Network, and on AM 1220 CFAJ throughout Ontario and the northern tier of the states of New York, Pennsylvania. And there's one more state in there. I just keep on forgetting it. I'll have to get a map one day and look at it. Gwilda Wiyaka is our special guest, and that was a track from her CD, Winds of Time. That track was called Tears of the Phoenix. And if you'd like more information about Gwilda, visit her website, findyourpathhome.com, as well as her radio TV show is on missionevolution.org. All right, Gwilda, you and I have talked about a lot of things over the years. I have to ask you this question. What is the New Age? And why are we seeing it now? Why is it getting so much publicity, so much hype?
Well, it's interesting. You know, the New Age, we think of it as something fairly recent, but actually, the New Age is kind of old. It dates back to Southern Europe following the Age of Enlightenment in the 18th century Europe. And the new esoteric ideas developed in response to the development of, believe it or not, scientific rationality. So, so it started clear back then, and it's taken many faces since then. Now it's kind of like a range of spiritual, religious practices and beliefs. And then that part of it grew in the 70s when we had a lot of the we had the hippies going on, and it really got strong then. And now it's coming back really as a response to the changes that we're seeing, all the prophecies that we're seeing. We're living these prophecies right now, all the amazing things that are happening. And so it's kind of, got a renaissance, if you will. But it's some of the thinkers who influenced it are Helena Blavatsky, Edgar Casey, Carl Jung. So there's it's carrying now in this age and bringing forth some interesting stuff.
Now, if this has been around for so long, I'm sure shamanism has worked its way into that, or is shamanism one of the main reasons for the New Age? How come we're just hearing about it these days? Like, I mean, you were explaining that, it's been along for such a long time, but yet it hasn't been really out there. And how do you connect the hippies to New Age movements?
Well, it was associated with counterculture of the 1960s. And I love this one. George Harrison's adoption of the Hindu philosophy and the Indian instrumentation in his songs with the Beatles in the mid-1960s, together with the band's highly publicized study of transcendental meditation, really kick-started it up again. It really got it moving because, they had a huge audience. And it kind of part of the human potential movement.
Human potential movement.
Mm-hmm.
Is that because there are those who think we haven't seen our potential now, and if we get off our butts and we start looking at the New Age way of looking at things, that will increase our potential and bring us to a better world?
That's actually a strong part of the belief in it. And it's interesting, it's become a hodgepodge. And so it's really kind of hard to pigeonhole the New Age movement as we're seeing it now. It's like anything that isn't mainstream or is a bit esoteric is thrown into the pile of New Age. So it's pretty difficult to define.
What are some of the different categories that can be found in the New Age?
Okay. The one category is where old practices are being reignited, if you will, like yoga, transcendental meditation, that sort of thing, and shamanism for that matter. But another part of it is anything that is a little bit out there. So if you are psychic and you get psychic information, or if you're a medium and you see ghosts, or if you do Reiki, energy healing, all of these things are part of thrown into the New Age bucket, if you will.
You were talking about the 60s, and during the 60s, when it came to yoga and the new way of thinking, there were a lot of drugs, everything from marijuana to LSD. Did the use of drugs actually help the New Age, or did it hinder the New Age?
Well, I think it was a mixed bag, but a lot of the hallucinogenics that were available at that time kind of thinned the veil between realities. And people, a lot of your songwriters, were pulling through information that ended up being quite prophetic. You listen to a lot of Bob Dylan songs, and we're living it now. And so I think that the hallucinogenic era really was inspirational for a lot of them. Jimi Hendrix, a lot of the songs that were written were influenced by the fact that they had kind of blown their heads open and were taking in more information. But then on the other hand, you look at the downside, when it got so out of hand that people were just, they were just stoned all the time. They couldn't ground it anymore. It got pretty wild.
When we look at the hippie movement, it was love, not war, the good vibrations, and a lot of things that we still look at and think of today. But I can't understand whatever happened to the hippie movement. They were there in the 60s and poof, gone.
We got old.
Is that all it was?
I think so. I think that it's changed faces. It was a real revolution of sorts against the status quo, the way society was, the materialism and all that stuff. However, it was polarized to the other direction, ergo it wasn't sustainable. But I think now what we're seeing is a more balanced way coming forth, and I don't think it necessarily carries a name.
But if the message was so dead on, and if it was part of the growing, how come it didn't live? For example, religious philosophies, they basically had the same message: make love, not war, do unto others as they would have them do unto you. And they have flourished over the years. And yet the hippies, who had the same ideas, they just disappeared. And the question is, do you think that the use of drugs and hallucinogenics had something to do with society squashing them?
It sure might have, because that was over the top, particularly in that day and age of what people thought was acceptable, the mainstream, and it sure might have had something to do with it. Plus, let's look at the facts. A lot of the people that were really heavy into the new age, not new age, excuse me, the hippie era, ended up overdosing. I mean, a lot of them died young. And so that speaks to me of something that's way too polarized, and it's not sustainable. But like I said before, I think that we're seeing it reemerge as the new age reemerges, but with a different flavor and a lot more balance.
The age you were talking about before, we're older now. And yet when you saw the thousands upon thousands upon thousands of kids at Woodstock, you would have thought that this idea would have carried on. But it didn't. It may in some way been philosophized, but the movement itself, the hippies, it just didn't work very long. It brought a lot of attention to a lot of things. Make love, not war, the anti-Vietnam War scenario, the marches. I agree with that. But if society would have been behind the hippie movement instead of wanting to suppress it, which they did, do you think that we'd be further ahead than we are right now?
I'm not sure. I'm really not sure. I think possibly, certainly in the esoteric realms, and certainly in the social realms, as far as the philosophies were really good and sound. As far as being kind, like you said, it comes from all the religious philosophies, but it was not an organized religion at any point. Even though sometimes they put it in that pigeonhole. But it was never an organized religion. It didn't have the cult mentality behind it as much as some things do.
I don't know about that. I don't know if it didn't have a cult mentality. But I'll give you that one for now.
You're so generous today.
I know. It's that time of the day, so why not?
Why not?
Then you had the Hare Krishnas. Remember those guys? Singing, yes. Giving away flowers, the bald eagles, and away they go. Hare Krishna, Krishna. Man, you couldn't go to an airport or train station or a bus terminal without them trying to hitch up for money. That, I think, was a little bit over the edge, because you don't have Christians and you don't have Jewish people. Well, wait a minute. Christians do go out and ask for money around Christmas to help the poor and unfortunate, but you don't have them all over the place doing that. Do you think that this part of the social revolution could have been part of why society kind of frowned on it and they just wanted it to go? And it seems that they were really, really successful in squashing that movement.
Well, most of the movement, of course, there's the good, the bad, and the ugly within it.
Great
but
movie,
most of
great
the movement
movie.
Was diametrically opposed to the status quo at the time. And so I think that's why it was attacked and fairly well squashed, because it didn't fit with the belief systems and the norms of the time. It was well before its time and a bit of, like I said, imbalanced. But I think that's more why it got squashed than anything.
It's funny because the hippies used to live in encampments just like the homeless do today.
Yeah, go figure.
History repeats itself all the time.
Absolutely, it does.
Where were you in the 60s?
Well, part of the 60s, most of the 60s, I was overseas. I grew up overseas, and I was in Switzerland.
So coming from Switzerland to America must have been a culture shock for you.
It was. And plus I didn't learn to read and write English until junior high, and then I learned speed reading. And all my teachers were British, so I had a hellacious British accent. I had to really work on fitting into the Midwest as a young woman.
And yet you don't have an accent.
I worked on it.
How did you work on it? You sound like Mel Gibson, because Mel Gibson, when he's not acting, he's from Australia, right?
Exactly.
And he's got an Aussie accent. And yet, when you listen to him, no accent. Just like the guy who played, oh my gosh, House.
Mm-hmm.
The doctor accent.
Yes.
And how you get rid of that accent, my gosh.
Well, you just really have to be sensitive to sound and pay attention to the way everybody around you is sounding.
Gotcha.
And that's how I did. And I was fairly young, so it was more. I probably couldn't do it now.
What we have to do now is take our final break, and Exonation, Gwilda Wiyaka is our special guest, www.findyourpathhome.com, as well as www.missionevolution.org. We're listening to cuts and tracks from her CD entitled Winds of Time, and if you'd like more information about Winds of Time, visit her website, findyourpathhome.com. I'll be back as we wrap up the first hour here in the X Zone, but don't go away, don't cry, don't feel sad. Hour number 2 starts in about 16 minutes.
Even though you are free, so above my broken life, bring your healing tears to me. Fly high, sweet phoenix, let your flame burn ever bright. Come lead this fallen warrior through his darkest night. May you walk in beauty. 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 Beauty above, beauty below, to your right, to your left, beauty before, beauty behind you. May you walk in beauty. May you walk in beauty.
And welcome back, everyone. Gwilda Wiyaka is our special guest this hour. She is the hostess with the mostess at missionevolution.org. And she has a great website, findyourpathhome.com. And one of the main features of her website that I love is the courses that you can take. And Gwilda, tell us about your courses, because I find them fascinating. And when you and I were doing them, doing the productions, I learned so much. And I'm saying, wow, this makes sense.
Oh, I had so much fun with you doing them because it made sense to you. The courses I put up are video classes. Like we said, Rob and his company produced them. And they're designed to help the layperson use shamanic techniques to enrich their lives today. So like there's 5 of them up right now. One's called the medicine wheel, and it teaches you how to really connect with the planet and use the power therein for what you're doing in your life. The second one is the shamanic journey, which teaches you how to get shamanic information, go into the shamanic trance, which is common to all shamanic practices. The third one is sanctuary, which speaks of making sacred space wherever you are, in your home and whatever. Then there's, of course, power animals and the shamanic art of shapeshifting that teaches you how to work with your totems. And the last one we have up is Elementals and Fairy Folk, Gateway Between Worlds. And it teaches you how to work with the metaphor of fairies and earth spirits and that sort of thing to bring balance to your life.
When you were saying a shamanic trance, is that the same as daydreaming, when you just phase out of this reality and you go somewhere else?
It really is, Rob, because the shamanic trance is actually measurable, scientifically measurable. They used to put all the gum in my hair and the wires because they were curious, the doctors I worked with. And my brain waves, when I go into the journey, I'd be in beta, normal operating daytime stuff. Then I drop into alpha and then even into theta. And you do the same thing when you're daydreaming or dreaming. Your brain waves shift. And so the shamanic journey is just a ritual that helps you do that at will. But when you get into those deeper states of consciousness, those deeper um, places, if you will, dream
Right.
states, you have access to information that you don't necessarily in beta.
Now, how long do your courses take? You've got 5 courses up there. If I was somebody who wanted to become a novice shamanic practitioner, how long would it take me to get to where I can actually help other people using what I've learned in your courses?
Well, the courses are designed for a person to use for personal growth and development. But I do have another course that takes off from those that teaches a person how to be a shamanic practitioner. And that teaches the skills to work on someone else, along with all the ethics and everything else that's required. And that takes a lot longer than just learning the shamanic practice through the original classes.
Now, what is a medicine wheel?
A medicine wheel, excuse me,
Sure.
a medicine wheel is a concept, and you find it in a lot of different uh, American Indian practices. You also find it all over the world, and they have these places. They'll have them all fenced off, and they're an archaeologist site where they have it'll be a medicine wheel all built out of rocks and a circular configuration. And what it does is it aligns with the cardinal directions on the planet. And the benefit of aligning with the cardinal
Mhm.
directions on the planet is using the rules or the laws of nature to support what your intention is. And so the medicine wheel is built to ground a person, to ground a group of people in order to then do ceremony and manifest whatever.
That's really interesting. So, if we were to take a view of Stonehenge, it's a circle.
Hmm.
Now, the those who study Stonehenge say it's a calendar, but could it also be, in fact, a medicine wheel?
Absolutely, because what is a calendar except the
Hmm.
way the cycles move? The Earth moves through her cycles, and the medicine wheel is that as well.
How about crop circles? Is there any connection in shamanism and the crop circles that have popped up? And I must say that the crop circle phenomenon has gone away.
We aren't getting any new crop circles. I'm very disappointed.
Yeah, me too. They used to be fun to make fun of.
Yeah,
Yeah.
get those little flying saucers back down here and get them busy. I've heard a lot of different theories on crop circles, and the one that I found the most interesting was actually an astrologer mentioned it to me, a very successful astrologer, and he said that he believes that the fairy folk were creating them. But instead of just these little fairies flying around, when you're talking about the fairy folk, what we're talking about is the earth energies.
Right.
Okay.
Yeah.
And so he saw it as a way that the earth was trying to get messages and information to us during these times of transition.
See, I used to have several guests on who were quote unquote using the ear quotation marks over here, experts in crop circles, and they used to really believe that UFOs used to come down with their occupants and do the crop circles to leave us messages. So I would say to them, especially one of them, I won't mention Patty's name. I'd say, well, if we're having so much problems trying to decipher the crop circle, how will we ever communicate with them if they're really out there? Like, let's use a little bit of logic here, gang.
Well, there's a lot more sophisticated ways I think that ETs would be communicating with us than bending our crops
Yeah.
over.
In fact,
Yeah.
if they are communicating with us, and how do we know that we as a carbon based society and creature could actually understand their method of communication, whether the frequency is higher, whether the frequency is lower? And it would all depend if they too were carbon based units.
Absolutely. And I think that's the major fallacy of our
Hmm.
envisioning these flying saucers or whatever. It has to be a craft, it has to be like this. But all of that is based on our understanding of reality, not necessarily the entire galaxy.
A lot of members of the UFO community, including the mutual UFO network, are now talking about the UFOs not being stellar, but being interdimensional. And they're also tying Bigfoot into the appearance and disappearance of UFOs.
Bigfoot?
Yeah.
Well, have they made the spaceships larger? Or
Well, no, I think where this is coming from, somebody was watching Star Wars and they saw Chewbacca, who looks for all purposes like a Bigfoot. And they decided, well, here's an aspect that we can really bring in, because nobody's discovered what the origin of Bigfoot is. Nobody's ever taken a photo of Bigfoot. Nobody's ever found a deceased Bigfoot. So let's bring Bigfoot into the picture and make the UFO community that much more credible. Didn't work with me.
Didn't work with Rob. I can imagine not, because your station and your shows are based on searching for the truth.
That's right. Searching for answers, demanding the truth. That's us.
That's you.
That's us. And so what about interdimensional travel? I know that you and I have talked before about dimensions and frequencies. When you're doing some of your shamanic work, is it possible that you slip into another dimension?
I think it's very probable. Just depends on what your intention is, what you're looking for. So if I'm doing medical intuitive, where my awareness goes is into the physical body of my client. But if I'm, doing stellar communication, if you will, where my awareness goes is probably interdimensional. And, who am I really talking to? I really don't know. But I have checks and balances that I can tell if it's reliable information or just somebody's opinion. So I do believe that we slipstream between.
Mm-hmm.
I think that we do when we drop into, like you say, your daydreams or anything else. I think we kind of slipstream from one timeline or one reality or one dimension to another.
How important are dreams in shamanism?
Oh, everything. The two most important things in shamanism are dreams and storytelling, because within the stories or within the dreams is a metaphor for the way life works, is the information that a person might be seeking to guide them through their life.
What are some of the key elements of a dream that you can share with us?
I'm not sure I understand the question. Do you mean what would I do with a dream?
No. For example, if a person dreams of a waterfall, what is the interpretation of that? Or if somebody dreams of a horse, what's the interpretation? And how do you dream in such a manner that you get a message, for example, of what are they called when you have an animal? That's your...
It's a power animal.
Yeah. How do you know
Right.
which is a power animal and which is just an animal that you may have seen during the day somewhere, and your mind decides to place it in a dream?
Well, personally, I believe that there are no just random dreams. There's always meaning in dreams. Whether the meaning is that you're processing things that went on throughout your day. You didn't have time to look into deeper. But if you set your intention before you go to sleep at night to have a dream about such and such and such and such, then record your dreams. When you wake up, you can apply metaphoric interpretation to them, or you can have somebody else that does that. There's books out there for dream interpretation. There's books out there for power animal interpretation. But what's most important is, what does it mean to the individual? Because this is your psyche that's speaking to you. It's not the general psyche, although the general psyche, I'm sure, influences it, and thus the books are useful. But what's the most useful is, what does that mean to you? And it's amazing. If you balance that back to what you had intended to start out with, you can really get some good information.
So basically, somebody interpreting your dream for you doesn't help you because the dream wasn't meant for them.
Well, if they're good at it, they can say it could mean this, or it could mean this, or it could mean this. This symbol usually means this in the general populace, or this or that. What does it mean to you? So, a lot of people, they look at their dream and well, where do you even start? So learning the art of interpreting metaphor is the first step in shamanism or dream work. And then being able to say, okay, which of that aligns with what feels right to me, what in my heart feels right, like it was the message based on what I was intending or what's going on in my life right now.
Gwilda, the time has come when we must say so long, but X Zone Nation, if you'd like to find out more about Gwilda, visit her two websites. The first one is findyourpathhome.com, and then the second one is missionevolution.org. And we've been playing tracks from Gwilda's CD with Cody. And the CD name is Winds of Time. And Gwilda, I want to thank you so much for joining us and for sharing your knowledge and for just being you and sharing what you do with each and every one of us when you do your radio show, your TV show, and of course your courses. So thank you.
Thank you, Rob. Been a pleasure being here with you again.
Thank you, my dear friend. And we'll be back on the other side of this short commercial break as hour number 2 of the X Zone radio show starts right now.